Hello there folks, it is TIJ Gaming. Welcome to, unbelievably, it's gone very quickly, but part 10 of our F1 2012 Williams career mode. Today is time for the Deutschland Grand Prix. We know it in England or Britain as the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim. The first time, interestingly, this track was used in the DRS era. Of course, it was held at the Nürburgring in 2011. The next year, 2013, would actually be the Nürburgring's last race in F1 before, I want to say, the circuit went bankrupt or something along those lines. It hasn't been used in Formula 1 for a while, and Hockenheim is used once every 2 years. But I think they've signed an agreement for that to be used every year now. I'm not really sure what goes on there. But the reason the Lotus is in there, Kimi got a podium this weekend, Alonso won in real life. Be interested to see if that happens again in game. But the team will be reviewing our driver status at this weekend. It's very important to note the team have already reviewed our driver status. If you didn't see the end of last episode, we've been promoted to equal status with Pastor Maldonado. Despite being behind in the teammate challenge, it's 2 each, but he's out-qualified us and got more fastest laps. But I guess the most crucial stat is how many championship points we've got. And we've got 9 more than Pastor Maldonado. So by the 10th race of the season, the team have made us equals. Obviously, last race we had our home race at Silverstone. We finished 8th place in that one after qualifying 12th. And we were as high as 5th or 6th at one point, but a bad pit stop and a bad strategy settles down to 8th place, as well as a few slips and trips. No rain, I don't think, forecast for this weekend, but I guess the best way to see if there's going to be any rain is to go out on the track and try it. So without any further ado, here comes Q1. The objective is quite steep here to finish 12th in qualifying, so we've got to get through Q1 first, hence why it says 17th place. But I haven't driven this track for a while, I haven't driven this game for a few days, so we're going to use this as a bank lap, and one that can be judged to see how well we'll get on. But I think we'll adjust fairly quickly to this Hockenheim track, although we might not. Just coming to the end of our lap, of course, it's quite a short lap around the German Hockenheim circuit. We've been held up by a little bit of traffic in this lap, although that's not particularly an excuse for a pace that I think will be quite poor. We just had a bit of a scruffy lap, a few wides there, not really knowing what speed to take into corners, but our bank lap is a 1:19.3, not really sure what that sets us into. Get out ahead of that Red Bull. Is that the championship leader in Vettel? It certainly is. He's behind us, he's took the lead off Button after a few good races, and he'll certainly be hoping for another good race here, at his home race of course. Pretty much coming back in exactly the same position here. It seems our lap wasn't that bad, although it's not above our teammate, but this lap is a much better effort. Just for an example, we were 1.6 seconds up in the first sector, for Christ's sake, so we can't be going that badly. But across the line for this lap, and it's going to be a 1:18 dead, which puts us top of the times at the moment. Of course, I very much doubt that'll be top of the times in total, so we might as well keep pushing, get to know the track a little bit more. We've only had a few laps on it so far, so don't let the fact that we're P1 at the moment fool you. We look very good here. Look at that sector. 3 tenths up on Hülkenberg, really pushing. It seems someone has gone out into the gravel. I think there's a part there, so I don't quite know what's happened. I have to say, we're a little bit down in the first and second sectors, but yeah, we're a bit up on what's been done, so I think the fuel load and the fact it's been a bit more aggressive has helped, going a bit wide there, but all within the rules, I believe. So coming up to the light, certainly going to be better than our final effort, and it is a 1:17.3. We're improving by 3 tenths there, not quite by 6 tenths, and that just might be the difference between going out and staying. I'm not really sure that this pace we've got so far is necessarily going to be brilliant pace going into Q3, but because our expectation is so high, 12th place, you would think, we might have a bit of pace around this circuit, but it's going to be fun driving around here with no laps worth of fuel. Admittedly, I'm just going to come into the pits while returning to the carriage. Nothing more to report there really, folks, hence why I've just skipped straight to the end. Only pipped to the post by Alonso there and denied our second Q1 lead, which I think we did get in Monaco, but we all know that this field is incredibly mixed in Q1, and the likes of Alonso, the likes of Vettel, the front runners, the old Jenson Buttons, Mark Webbers and Lewis Hamiltons will increase their pace in the next session. I suppose you could say we can do the same, but it looks good for us. It's Daniel Ricciardo who's gone as well as the 6 back markers in this session, but our pace looks good, and at least we're through Q1, and I think we can out-qualify Pastor Maldonado here. But as you can see, only 4 tenths in the top 10, which means it is really, really close. Right then folks, I'm going to take you on board with me in this Q2 lap. Hopefully it should be a good one, because of course these are the set of tyres that if we do set our fastest lap on, that we start the race on. So we only really want to do 1 lap on these tyres, I think it's fair to say, and hopefully this effort should be enough to get into Q3 based on our times before, even though we did say that of course the leaders have probably got more to offer. A little bit of a scrappy start to the lap there actually, that would have really probably hampered our first sector time. You're talking by a tenth or two, and a tenth or two is all it takes here, but good line round there, nice stuff. Just use the DRS when we can, we're not going to risk it round there. But a 17.3, I think, compared to a 17.2 that we did in Q1. So just a bit of a comparison what that scrappy line entailed for the first sector of the lap. But we can recover that time, of course, over the other sectors of the lap. A 117.6 by Mark Webber. I believe it was a 117.8 we put in the last session to take the lead. So that just shows how the big boys really step up the game, not using DRS through that corner. But as soon as we're through there, we're going to open it once again. Come up to this corner. A little bit off the apex, not quite where I've liked. We're certainly not using the DRS through here, but pretty much flat out through there. No need to lift off. And in this sector, we've done a 53.6, which means we're purple, but our strength, as you might have guessed, isn't in this final sector. It seems the first and second sector is really good. We're going to push as much as we can in this last sector. 117.6 from Lewis Hamilton. Let's just try and get this as hooked up as possible. We don't want to run wide here. Want this one to be the lap that gets us into Q3. This looks good round the last few corners, and it's going to be a 117 what's that, 117.8? Yeah, 6 tenths off the pace. Actually 7 tenths, apologies. Funnily enough, Alonso, the driver behind us this time, I think probably a 117.6 is our limit. That's not the best entry to that corner, so we might have to scrap the lap. But I reckon, who hasn't set a lap yet? Let's have a look who hasn't set a lap. I think the Schumacher, Rosberg, Massa's nowhere. And Vettel, I think it might be worth coming into the pits. Yeah, come into the pits. See what happens. I think we could get top 10. I think our pace is really good round here. But we can't get complacent, of course. Well, we're certainly close to the drop zone, but honestly, I haven't seen much improvement on the drivers behind us. So we're going to take the risk like we did, I think it was at Silverstone. It might have been Valencia, and just stay in the pits. I don't think the other drivers have got anything to improve. They've pretty much set what their maximum is. We moved down to 9th place, displaced by Grosjean there, but it was quite close in the end. But Massa, Perez, Rosberg, surprisingly, 2 Force Indias, John-Eric Verne, Felipe Massa, and our teammate go out in Q2. So we're the surviving Williams into Q3. Also only one Sauber, both Lotus cars, both only the one Ferrari, amazingly. Both Red Bulls, both McLarens, and a Mercedes going to Q3. And I think now we only really set the one lap on those Q2 tyres, so that will definitely help us out. And I think, to be honest, now the sky's the limit. I think we're doing really well. We've got some great pace round here. Definitely boosted by the fact that we're actually been promoted to the equal status in the team. But seeing as we don't start the race on these tyres, we might as well just go for it and see how far up the grid we can get. Wow, compared to the last lap, remember it was a 17.3 in the first sector. Look at that first sector we've just gone and set a 16.9. This could be a good one. I think there's 1 or 2 mistakes we've made in this lap that could be ironed out, so I think there's probably a 10th we can gain here, but honestly, I've given it my all. Weather fuel improvements, obviously we'll have a little bit less fuel for the next time round, but I think, to be honest, we've done all we can do from a driving standpoint. The technicalities might change in this next lap. What are we going to achieve? It was a 117.1 that leaded the field in the last one. We've achieved a 117.6, so a 2-tenth delta from the last session. That's quite impressive, actually. And with a little bit less fuel, hopefully, we can improve by a 10th with the fuel and a 10th with some just a little bit better driving. Unfortunately, no improvement to report. That's a real shame. I think we lost it all in the last sector, but again, a bit of a scrappy lap. The bar has really been raised here, as you can see. A 116.8 being done by Alonso. I think we'll do one more lap. You know, I think we've got the pace to improve by potentially a 10th, and a 10th might put us up a position and might just increase the race pace. Look at that. Brilliant first sector, but of course the first sector can't buy you everything, so we've just got to make sure we take a good lap, take the opportunities we've got, but the first sector is definitely a clear advantage for us, a clear good spot for our car. A little bit off in the second sector off the best, but we've actually improved our personal best by quite a bit. So this could be quite a good lap. Bear in mind that third sector really isn't our strength. We're going to work as hard as we can to make sure it is our strength, but that might be a little bit impossible here. But I do find these corners a little bit tricky, just making sure we don't get out wide. But we're taking it as best as we could there. There's definitely going to be an improvement here. Right up to the wall. What's it going to be? Probably a gear change that we shouldn't have made there, really. You'll notice we moved to 7th a little bit early, but what a lap that is. That provisionally puts us up in 4th place, and considering this is the weekend where you can get contract offers from big teams, oh boy, this is a real opportunity to impress the big boys. Well, we were put down a bit at the end of that session, demoted from 4th to 7th, but it's still our best qualifying position of the year, and we out-qualified Maldonado comfortably. So, in front of us, Kimi, Mark, Jensen, Lewis, Seb and Fernando. I don't see any opposition there. We should win this race easily. In all seriousness though, not all in all serious though, that makes no sense. In all seriousness though, I would take a 7th place tomorrow, quite granted, and quite happily. But I think we should try for a bit more. Our pace looks very good here, but as long as we get some points, I don't think we can be dissatisfied. But now, qualifying's over, we've done all we can on the grid, now it's time to go to the race start. Today is a chance, and the team clearly thinks so. They're certainly on the hype train. Our objective is to finish 5th or above. They know we can do it on the starts. They know we can improve position. We've proven that before. But from this position, there's only so much you can improve. We're competing with cars that are proven to be faster than us, but we are 7th in the grid by absolute merit. Can we improve that? It's lights out, and away we go for the 17 lap Hockenheim Grand Prix. Mark Webber has a poor start, so we're going to try and capitalise from that from the start. But it's all a case of whether everyone gets in this corner. Button and Webber had a really poor start, and Webber has been demoted behind us. Raikkonen looking a bit feisty going into this corner, but unfortunately, we're on the outside. Raikkonen, though, really backing off there, and I think we've got up to 4th place. We certainly have. Really poor from Raikkonen there. Not sure why he backed off at all, but a trouble-free start for the... I think that's the 2 Red Bulls in front. No, it can't be. Lewis Hamilton's in front of us. The Red Bull of Vettel, I would guess, and Alonso as well. But we haven't got the best straight line speed, I think it's fair to say. But our braking distance is clearly quite impressive. So we do gain on Hamilton and Vettel there. But honestly, I do think that these will just start to fall away now at the front. We can try and battle with them all we want, but we'll only eat through our fuel load and our tyres. But we can try. We can always give it a bit of an attempt. But really, we need to have maximum concentration. So I probably need to shut up. Well, we're on to lap 3, unfortunately not within DRS of Hamilton. We were sort of a time in Sector 2, but our Sector 3 lack of pace is really putting us off. But Hamilton and Vettel having a dice in front, which will certainly help us to catch up a lot quicker than I think, though. Hamilton has to get out of the way of Vettel, and that will really put us at an advantage, particularly with a bit of speed on Hamilton on the straight. We've got DRS, so is Lewis Hamilton. This could be a double overtake of Sebastian Vettel. Vettel doesn't know where to look. He can't get anywhere. And Hamilton and ourselves have just dived past Sebastian Vettel. Might as well take the outside line coming into this corner. Don't want to get run off though, and that's well done there. Right up behind Lewis Hamilton for 2nd place in this race. We could be, on merit, the leading Brit in this race. We've got the run on Hamilton here, but not going to dive up the inside just yet. I know we could take our opportunities here, but we don't want to cause a crash, particularly in such a high position. Oh, that is terrible. That is terrible round there, but luckily we've not been punished for it. Now, our line round here for some reason hasn't been as good in this race. I don't know whether it's because our race tyres aren't as good, so we can't get as good a run out of there. I'm not sure, but I feel like we've slipped up a little bit there. We could have gone for the move on Hamilton, but had it gone wrong, you can all look back in hindsight and think, well, we could have made a good move. Actually, though, have we got a bit of momentum around the last? We've got a lot of curves left, actually, and possibly it might be time to get DRS on Hamilton when he is the vulnerable one, particularly considering that Alonso in front of him is miles ahead. We've made a real good gain at that corner there. We're going to wait until the DRS activation zone to try and make a move on Hamilton if we do. Oh, bit of a slide there. It's not the best exit to turn 3 and 4. I wonder if we were just dreaming that though, because yeah, it didn't really slide that much, but I just felt a little bit of a twitch and we had to correct it. But Alonso's gone at the front of the field. Looks like he could repeat a result that mirrors the 2012 result, but unbelievably we have tried to move from a mile back. Hamilton side by side with us. We've got the inside line, but Hamilton's just got the straight line speed. The Mercedes engine and the McLaren chassis just beats us there, but once again we're very close to Hamilton. We've got to maintain this gap particularly and make sure we don't lose it like we did before. But it's all well and good saying that, but the McLaren is just a better cornering car than ours. Maybe moving down to 5th gear might help us out here. A lot better around there, but a little bit less speed. So we sacrificed the speed for the cornering ability, which I suppose does gain a bit of speed in the end. But Lewis just ahead of us. Again, we're fighting cars that we are proven to be slower than. So we're definitely the underdog here, but I think here we can overtake, but it's just a waiting game. Well, we're closer than we were last time. We've actually got a bit of a better run out of there. You can see that because Kimi's quite a way back and he hasn't made any mistakes. So, do we try another dive up the inside of Lewis here? Why not to scare him? But no, that's just silly. He would have got the inside and we were too far back there. So, we're going to try and keep pushing on the curves. You'll notice we've moved down to standard fuel mix now. That's probably the appropriate thing to do. We don't want to burn out all of our fuel at this early stage and have to save later on. Vettel has got past... Oh dear. Vettel's got past Kimi Raikkonen there. Of course, his future teammates 3 years later? Yeah, 3 years later, blimey. But Alonso has really pulled away. And I don't think you can say that it's us that's holding up the train. Unfortunately, Lewis has just lost Alonso, potentially in the battle that he had initially with Sebastian Vettel. So Alonso, providing he doesn't have any mechanical issue or any unluckiness, will pretty much stroll to victory in this race, I would say. Well, Hamilton's now out of DRS and Vettel's catching us. So I think third has gone now. I think Hamilton's just a little bit too quick for us. Plus, we need to really fight our own battles. We can't keep scrapping for Hamilton and burning our tyres and our fuel, though, which is what was happening, to be honest. But if you remember, there's a clause, well, not a clause, but there's a part of the teammates challenge which concerns podiums. Now, I know it's early on in this race, but this could be the race in which we get the podium to get that 1 point on Maldonado. That's going to be particularly hard to gain coming into the second half of the season. But I have to say, we have been really strong here all weekend. I did say at the start of this run, you know, starting at maybe Canada, maybe Monaco, maybe even Valencia. I know that was it's a 3 race run, so it's not really particularly long. But I think starting this run was really good because I like these tracks. They suit my driving style, probably suit the car as well. So a good result here, and our best result since Malaysia would really complement that. Although I think using our curves would be a good start, wouldn't it? Without running wide as well, we need to use our curves. Bit of a waste of time not using it, but our pit stop comes this lap, so hopefully we aren't messed about there, and hopefully we can retain our third place. Here we are then coming into the pits. Look like Hamilton has decided to stay out, so he's going to be the de facto leader of this Grand Prix. Alonso's pit stop is pretty much safe. Hopefully we have a good one. Onto the primes. Hopefully released nice and early. Yes, we are. We retain our position. Well, with Raikkonen behind anyway, that's for certain. But I think it's definitely important to make sure we retain our position because ultimately, if we're being honest, if those guys get track position, we can't catch up to them. I mean, we were in the running with Hamilton, but the likes of your Vettels, the likes of your Raikkonen, it's going to be pretty impossible to catch up to, but being in 7th before a number of these drivers have pitted is immense, and look at that train. Hamilton's bound to be in that train, and that's certainly going to help us, but, well, he's not going to be in that train. It's Alonso who's going to be in that train, not Hamilton, but it does benefit Hamilton, but it does benefit us as well, so it works 2 ways. Now, I'm not being arrogant here, I don't intend to be, but this could be the first and last time that Maldonado's ahead of us in this race. We've been a straight above Maldonado this weekend. I think our equality to equal stage... Our equality? Our promotion to equal stage. Sorry, well, I could have said our equality in the first place. Never mind my wording. But us becoming equals has really made a positive impact on ourselves. But the crucial thing is, look at that behind view. We have gained on Kimi Raikkonen rather than lost any time. So that pit stop was a good thing. But unfortunately for you guys, unless we can catch up to the guy in front or the bloke behind, of course, what bad manners. If we do not catch up to Lewis Hamilton, and if Kimi Raikkonen doesn't catch us behind, it looks like we're fairly separated with 3 seconds separating us and the other drivers. I don't think much else will happen in this race, but if we can get the podium, I'm not too fussed about that. All I will say, though, is that ourselves and Hamilton equally are a lot closer to Fernando Alonso than we were before. So potentially those two might have a battle for the lead. And I don't want to hint anything, but who knows what might happen in the next 8 laps here at the Hockenheim ring. Big news in the championship battle. Look who has retired. Sebastian Vettel out of the race. No incident involved, a mechanical failure. Wow. Sebastian Vettel out of the race. That complements Button's poor race in Valencia scoring. With a good performance from Button here, he will go back to the top of the championship. That gives him a bit more motivation to get into third. Whoops. Bit of an update from our end. Nothing really happening, to be honest. We've pretty much maintained the gap between ourselves and Hamilton. Positive thing is that Button's a long way behind. He's going to have to gain more than a second a lap to get past us in the end. And I'm not going to be a pushover, I'll say that, but to certainly get our first podium. But car performance is certainly a little bit more than me being a little bit of a pushover, i.e. I think the McLaren might just beat us if he comes anywhere near us. But I have to say, it's nice. 3 Britons in the top 4. And if we can be the leader of that gang, then I certainly won't have any qualms with that at all. But being in the middle of the McLaren sandwich is something that in 2012 I don't mind. Maybe in 2018 I'd oppose it a bit more. Well, those are the sort of laps we're putting up with, aren't we? We're competing against those sort of laps from Alonso. 1:19.4 And our best lap we've just set, whilst really pushing us a 120.2, you could say, well, we could be in rich fuel mix. But honestly, is that going to make 8 tenths of a difference? It just proves we're in a slower car, but the job we're doing in this race is fantastic. Button's gaining, but probably not enough to get the position, so we've just got to drive this Williams home and give Williams its first podium of the season, which would be a brilliant feeling. One of the things that is worth pointing out with this race is that if we do finish third, or even fourth, or even fifth, there will start to become a big points disparity between ourselves and Maldonado. And even though I know we've only become the equal driver now, surely if we continue this form, particularly even short term, we should really be considered for the first driver role. We're out-competing Maldonado in the race. Most races now, he's out-qualifying us in some. But our starts, our race performances, our overtaking skills, probably better than Maldonado, apart from the fact, oh, that's a bit of a corner cut. Our first one of the race, admittedly. It's not like I'm cutting them all out. Pardon the pun there about cutting, but nonetheless. Maldonado, well, he'd just take everyone out, wouldn't he, when he overtakes? But that's no way to talk about a teammate, of course. But we're just retaining our pace, really, in our race. Bit of an update there. Just over 3 laps to go. Button is gaining at a rate of knots, I think it is fair to say on us, but it's about still a 3-4 second gap. So whilst he is gaining at a rate that might look a bit alarming, is it really enough? I'm not really sure, unless we make a big mistake, or he starts to basically, unless one of the other variables happen. We should be pretty secure, I think, here, but there's still 3 laps to go. Still about 4 minutes to go of the race, and anything can happen in these 240 or 260 seconds if it's a bit more. Right then, folks, you guys can come on board for the last 2 laps of the German Grand Prix. Fingers crossed we make no more mistakes on camera. That could be a bit more embarrassing. Alonso's just set a 1:19 dead. Now, we've just set our best lap by about 4 tenths of a second. We've trickled into the 1:19s. And we should have a faster lap than Maldonado this race. So that should give us some good clearance in the Championship Challenge, in terms of the Teammate Challenge, not the Championship Challenge. For the Teammate Challenge in that. I've just heard that our pit man, not the pit man, our pit engineer, the pit man, unbelievable. Our pit engineer just shows how much pressure can do to you when you're focused. Our pit engineer just said that Button is gaining by about a second a lap. So, based on that delta, he's going to be 8 tenths behind at the line. So, we need to just make sure that throughout this lap and a bit now, there's some traffic that are ahead, but a little bit like the Button scenario, unless anything dramatic happens, we won't catch up to that traffic. It's peculiar that in 10 races we haven't had 1 safety car yet, isn't it? Very, very odd. But a little bit off the pace this lap. Hamilton's gone. Hamilton has gone. I mean, we competed with him at the start, but I think we will be forgiven, I think, for not beating Hamilton if we get a podium here. Button gaining again in that sector, but as I said again, just I'd rather keep it on the track and maybe go a few tenths slower. We haven't even used any of our curves. That might be why we're losing a little bit of time. It's free of charge, so we may as well just use it. Right, last lap of the race. As you can see, 6 tenths down there, and that might mean that Button's a little bit closer than we expect at the end of this race. Clear that Button is on a charge to try and increase his lead in the championship now that Vettel is out of the Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix. That's going to be a kick in the teeth for Seb Vettel. But the last lap of this race, can we go on and do something there? Felipe Massa, who has not done anything this whole season, I think it's fair to say, been very lacklustre and seems to be very underrated on the game, has just set the fastest lap of the race. No points for that, it's not 2019. But because we've been in standards for so long, we can afford to go into rich mix here. Looks like Hamilton's just catching a back marker, so should that back marker give Hamilton some real distress, which I can't really imagine it will. Well, he will. The car, the driver, not it. Whatever distress that gives Hamilton, I don't think it'll be enough. And the same will apply here for Jenson Button behind. He's caught up, but it's just a case of too little too late unless we make a really bad mistake. And this is a big achievement. I think this is an achievement that I've underestimated. I don't want to say much about it towards the line, but Alonso wins like he did in real life. Oh, we've got a warning for corner cutting, then imagine if we'd have got a penalty at the end. Well, that would have been heartbreaking. But we come round the final corner here at Hockenheim, and we secure our first podium for Williams. That is a tremendous result. Absolutely fantastic. Our first podium of the season, our first podium with Williams, our first podium of the career. Double points for the team as well. 16 big points in the championship. Only a 10th place for Maldonado, but we take the rough with the smooth, and that is our first podium. What a race that was. And really competitive in terms of lap times. Unbelievably, though, Maldonado beats us in terms of fastest lap. That is quite unbelievable. Fair play to him. And now the phone's going. Well, I've just come up I've just come off the phone with Frank Williams. Very good performance, he said. No, it wasn't Frank Williams. I don't know who it was because I didn't answer the phone. But let's just pretend it was Frank Williams. What a performance that is. A podium. Unfortunately, no podium celebrations in this game, but we can see the championship, and now we've moved into the top 10 with 40 points. Brilliant. And it extends our lead over Force India, and we're a lot closer to Lotus than we were. 12 points away now. We can make that a really serious battle for 6th come the second half of the season. The top 5 have gone, unless we have a really big performance, which we have done there. I can't see that happening at many races, but just the key of no mistakes, which you have made in several races. Here we go. I forgot about this. Look at this. In Park Fermé, we park behind the number 3 sign. I have to say, our team don't really look that pleased with it, but nonetheless, it's a podium. I mean, no smiling, you know. Well, they must obviously not be that bothered. We must prefer Maldonado to me. Oh well, but we've beaten Maldonado. We've got that right. Oh, hey up. A source close to the F1 driver Moi has suggested he's already thinking of next year's drive. Is there a contract offer on the table? Ferrari course a static at win, and there I said before, I predicted it. He's delighted with our podium. Fantastic. Right, we've got a contract offer. Is this from Williams? Right, so we've got race for Budapest. As you can see, we're winning the teammate challenge data now. First podium of the year. We get congratulated for that. Who is the contract offer from? Oh. Right. Okay. Shall I read out the email? Hi Toby, or hey. I've just got some excellent news. We've just received a contract offer from Eric Boulier at Lotus. I've looked through it and it's a very good offer. Definitely worth considering. Eric did also mention that they need an answer straight away. They want you to drive for them immediately. If you decline, I suspect you won't get another offer from them this season. And I'm leaving that up to you guys. Do we accept? Do we reject? I mean, both teams have got similar values. Pardon me. Similar values, haven't they? British-owned teams. British teams in terms of where they're based. Seems the Lotus is a bit of a better performing car than ours. That would be determined by them being 6th in the championship. And I think, to be honest, podium's a little bit more realistic. Consistency in that car. What do you think, guys? Should we stay with Williams or go to Lotus? Let me know down in the comments. But that was a fantastic drive. 15 points, 23 ahead of Maldonado in the championship now. Really solid performance. But who knows, it could be our last Sir Williams driver. Thank you very much for watching, folks. Make sure to leave your opinions down in the comments. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.